This meeting will start in 1 minute, and that the meeting will be video and audio recorded, which will be uploaded to the Township's YouTube page. So by requesting to participate in this meeting, you are consenting your likeness and comments recorded and posted on YouTube. Any written comments or objections submitted regarding the applications, we have 3 tonight, are made public as part of the application process, and they will be considered by the committee. There, I have 4 o'clock. So I will call this meeting to order. I notice we have a full horseshoe, so there is no regrets for members. And welcome, everybody, and thank you for attending. Is there any calls for deferral or withdrawal of any matter before the committee?
No, ma'am, there isn't.
Thank you. Any changes to the order of the hearings?
All is well, thanks.
Perfect. I'll call upon the committee members if anyone has a declaration of pecuniary interest. Seeing none, we'll move into item number 3, minutes of previous meeting. If I have a mover, Stanners, second by Kiomo. We have before us a recommendation that the minutes of the Township of Mapleton Committee of Adjustment meeting held on October the 9th, 2024, be confirmed as circulated in the agenda. Were there any errors or omissions? Any comments? Okay, I'll call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion is carried. Any matters arising from the minutes? Seeing none, that moves us right into our applications today for minor variance, including all the correspondence. So again, I just let everyone know that each application heard this afternoon will be reviewed with the reports that have been provided, and each committee member will review, has had the opportunity to review, and will be making their decisions based on that, and no precedent shall be set as each decisions are made separate. So our first hearing this afternoon is hearing number A 2024-14. The location of the subject property is legally described as the East Part Lot 15, Concession 5, Peel, municipally known as 6716 Side Road 19. The subject property is 40 hectares or 100 acre in size and is occupied by a dwelling and dairy occupation. So the purpose and effect of the variance application is to provide relief for the minimum distance separation to MDS 2 from a proposed manure tank to a type A land use. So the manure tank requires a setback of 251 meters from the nearest type A use, whereas 191 meters is proposed. Other variants may be considered where deemed appropriate. So at this time, I'll call upon a statement by our Secretary-Treasurer, Mr. Larry Wheeler, regarding notifications, comments received to date.
Thank you, ma'am. Staff can confirm that property owners, Mapleton staff, and agencies were provided with the required notice. There's a comment summary included in your township planning report. Proper on-site postings were completed October 24th. You'll find the County of Wellington planner comments in the agenda package. There's also comments from Source Water Protection and the GRCA.
Thank you. So at this time, we'll call upon our township planner, Linda Redmond, to review her report for us.
Thank you, Chair. There's not much to review. It's your typical MDS reduced setback to a new manure tank. It doesn't meet the closest type A use. The arcs are shown on the mapping. So they're asking for relief of 60 meters to the dwelling that is adjacent to this property. We have no concerns with it.
Okay. Thank you. So at this time, I'll call upon the owner of Lee Sherbray Holsteins. If you wish to give comments to the committee, please go up to the podium. If you press the red button when you wish to speak and state your name, I'd appreciate it.
Good afternoon, committee. I'm Cleon Martin, here on behalf of Colin Kramer for this application, and I'm simply here to answer any questions that the committee may have.
Okay. Is there anyone else attending who wishes to speak to the proposal for? Anyone wish to speak to the proposal against? So at this time, I will ask our committee members if there are any questions to our planner or to our representative. I'll start to my immediate right. Member Kiyomo, do you have any questions or concerns?
No, I don't have any. It seems fairly straightforward application.
Thank you. Member Stanners?
Thank you, Chair. No, I have no concerns with this, and I had a comment or a question earlier, but it has been resolved. It looks like there will be a new barn with a bigger pit, and it has to be out of this. The MDS thing has all been settled, I'm sure. There we'd be hearing numbers and comments of that also. So I have no concerns. Thank you.
Member Dumering?
Thank you, Chair. No, I don't have any further questions. It just looks like a farmer expanding in a rural neighborhood.
Thank you. Member Sheik?
I have no questions either. It doesn't really look like it matters where they put the manure storage on that property. It would affect a neighbor, just the radius of closeness to all the other neighbors. So I have no questions.
Well, thank you for attending. I don't think anyone has questions for you. So we have before us a resolution. If I can have a mover, Member Sheik, second by Member Dumering. I have a recommendation before us that the minor variance applied for and application A 2024-14 located at the East Part Lot 15, Concession 5, Peel, municipally known as 6716 Side Road 19, to provide the following relief as proposed. MDS2 setbacks to a Type A use, new manure tank. Required is 251 and proposed is 191 meters. Any other further questions or comments before I call the question? Okay, I'll call the question. All those in favor? All those against? This motion is carried. Vote is granted. So please let it be known that we, the Committee of Adjustments, find that the 4 tests have been met. The variance is minor in nature. The variance requested is desirable or for the appropriate development of lands, buildings, or structure. The variance maintains the general intent and purpose of the official plan. And the variance maintains the general purpose and intent of the zoning bylaw. So at this time, we'll circulate the hearing notice. Well, everything has been signed. Please note, Mr. Martin, you can convey back to them the 20-day appeal process will start. And then after that, I'm sure they'll be in contact with the building department, and we can go from there. So this concludes our hearing for minor variance A 2024-14. Thank you for attending. Moves into our second hearing today is for, I have to get to the right page first. Location of the subject property is legally described as the East Part Lot 8, Concession 8, Maryborough, and is municipally known as 8410 Concession 8. The subject property is 50 hectares or 100 acres in size, and is occupied by a dwelling and dairy operation. A 2024-15. So the purpose and the effect of the variance application is to provide relief for minimum distance separation to MDS2 from a proposed livestock facility and manure tank to a type A and B land use. The applicants are proposing a new dairy barn and liquid manure tank and cannot meet the required distances to the Moorfield urban boundary or the nearest type A use. Other variances may be considered where deemed appropriate. So at this time, I call again upon our Secretary-Treasurer, Mr. Larry Wheeler, regarding notifications and comments received to date.
Thank you, ma'am. Staff can confirm that property owners, Mapleton staff, and agencies were provided with the required notice on October 23rd. There is comment summary in the Township Planner's Report. Proper on-site postings completed October 24th. And there's comments included from the Wellington County Planner, Source Water Protection, and GRCA.
Thank you. So at this time, we'll call upon our Township Planner, Linda Redmond, to review her report for us.
Thank you, Chair. So again, another new livestock facility that is replacing an existing one, as well as a new manure tank, and they don't meet the MDS to the Moorfield boundary. As you can see on the map, they're adjacent to it. They're very close to it. And then the house to the west is also within the ARC for type A use. So they need relief from that. I just want to point out in this instance, I know that the variances requested are quite significant because the proximity to Moorfield urban boundary at that point. But in this case, they are replacing existing livestock, an existing livestock facility. They're keeping it within the farm cluster. And the barns that are in there now are already are too close. So they're not making the situation worse, in my opinion. They're maintaining the status quo. So we have no concerns with the relief requested.
Thank you for your report. Would the owners of Benjamin Farms, Tim, did you wanted to make some comments, or feel free to come up, press the red button?
Well, I'm Tim Benjamins from Benjamin's Farm, and I'm just here to answer any questions that you may have.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for attending. So at first, is there anyone else who would like to speak to this application? Anyone like to speak against this application? Okay, well then I'll start with my committee members. I'll start to my far left. Member Sheik, you have any questions or concerns?
Thank you, Chair. So I was just looking at the map that the planner provided with the application, and I just wondered, was there any consideration to move the pit, back further away, like to the west maybe, or the south? I'm not sure what direction it is from the barn cluster, rather than where it is. I wondered if it would take it out of the neighborhood, type A, did you give any consideration to a different location?
We did take into consideration putting it behind the existing barn, but I'm trying to get away from using a pump and just do gravity flow. So that's the reason we put it there.
Thank you. Member Doomerang?
No, I don't have any further questions either, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Member Stanners?
Thank you, Chair. No, I have no real questions at all with this. The first thing when I looked at this, on some of this application, it come up with a P for Peel Township instead of Marlborough, and when I drove up the road the other day, I wasn't even in the right township, and thanks to Larry for, I dropped into his office, and everything got settled down, that it is near Moorfield, not in Peel Township at all. I myself am glad to see a new pit. I think the buildings around there have served their purpose, and as our planner has said, you know, it's not as if we're actually moving any closer to the village. We're just replacing stuff that has most likely served its day. Thank you.
And Member Kiyomo?
No questions and no comments.
Okay. I think you got off easy, Tim. Thank you. Sure.
Yep.
Oh, there
I did speak with the neighbors in that house, and they are completely fine with it. And I will put trees up, kind of at the back of the barn, just to keep the dust down and stuff for the neighbors. So
Perfect.
they're fine with it too.
Well, I'm sure they'll appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we do have a recommendation before us. If I could have someone to move it. Member Sheik, second by Member Stanners. So I have a recommendation that the minor variance applied for application A 202415, located at the East Part Lot 8, Concession 8, Marlborough, and is municipally known as 8410 Concession 8, to provide the following relief as proposed. So under MDS 2 setback, section 6.17.2, for the new manure tank, proposed for the type B use of 62 meters, for the type A use dwelling of 8420 concession 8 of 235 meters, and the new livestock facility to the type B use in Moorfield boundary, proposed 29 meters. Any other questions or concerns before I call the question? Okay, I'll call the question. All those in favor? All those against? That is granted. So again, please note that we, the Committee of Adjustment, feel that this variance is minor in nature. The variance requested is desirable for the appropriate development or use of lands, building, or structure. The variance maintains the general intent and purpose of the official plan, and the variance maintains the general purpose and intent of the zoning bylaw. So at this time, we'll have signing of the hearings, or not. Yes? Okay, the decisions have been signed. So again, to let you know, there is a 20-day appeal process. So after the 20 days is when you'll be able to start working with the building department or planning department. So that concludes our hearing for minor variance A 2024-15. This meeting is adjourned. Well, this hearing is adjourned. So we have our third hearing this afternoon is hearing 2024-16. The location of the subject property is legally described as South Part Lot 6, Concession 2, Maryborough, and is municipally known as 6466 Side Road 6. The subject property is 100 acres in size and is occupied by a dwelling and various farm buildings. The purpose and effect of the variance application is to provide relief from the maximum floor area permitted for a home industry. The applicants are proposing to establish a home industry under the provisions of 6.14 on the property and are requesting a variance for a building size of 267.5 square meters, whereas 232.25 square meters is permitted. Other variances may be considered where deemed appropriate. So at this time, I'll call upon our statement from our Secretary Treasurer, Larry Wheeler.
Thank you, ma'am. Staff can confirm that property owners, Mapleton staff, and agencies were provided with the required notice. There's a comment summary included in the Township Planning Report. Proper on-site postings completed November 1st. And there's also comments from Source Water Protection in the agenda package. Thank you.
Okay, at this time, I'll call upon our Township Planner, Linda Redmond, to review her report for us.
Thank you, Chair. So this is a new one for the committee. So I will go into a little bit more detail. The lands are designated in zoned agriculture. It's a farm. Under the zoning bylaw, there's permitted home industries that we allow on farms that are greater than 25 acres. And there's criteria that is applied to these home industries to control the size and scale of them, because the intent is that they are to be secondary to the main use of farming. One of the main criteria is the size of the building that is allowed for the actual home industry business. So currently that is 2,500 square meters and, or 2,500 square feet or 2,607.5 square meters. And the applicants have asked for a bit of a bigger building than what the zoning bylaw allows. There's other criteria that kicks in when it comes to the home industries. They meet all the other criteria. This is the only variance they are asking for under the home industry provisions. So it's a difference of 35.25 square meters in floor area for this building. We have no concerns. The use is fine. Everything else is, meets the requirements of the home industry, so we have no concerns with the request.
Okay, thank you. So at this time, is Mr. Bowman, introduce yourself. Do you wish to speak to the application, or do you want to just see if we have questions for you? It's entirely up to you. If so, just come up, yep, and then if you press the red button.
Good afternoon, committee. I would thank you to take a moment to look at this issue, and I'm just here to answer any questions.
Thank you. Is there anyone else attending today that wishes to speak for this application? Yes? Most definitely. Come on up, introduce yourself, and...
Yeah, I'm a neighbor of Israel's. I live across the road. What is the home business? That's all I'm concerned about. What would that be?
So, farm equipment repair.
Okay, so almost like the Lebanon tractor type of deal?
That's where I work right now.
Yeah. So my only concern is Lebanon tractor, like these are farm agriculture areas, and Lebanon tractor, like there's almost like 7-8 acres all taken off farmland, and you're always saying that you got to protect farmland, and this will be another case. Whereabouts is it going to go, right in front of your, whereabouts? That was my other question on the property.
Yes.
If I could point to the screen, there's a map showing the location of where the building is in relation to the farm buildings. It is located within the farm cluster, so we're not
Okay.
not locating it outside of that.
Okay, so it's where your garage and stuff is now, in that area? Right. No, I'm okay with that. That's my only concern. Like, we have a few around. The other problem we have is, we have a gravel road that was a paved road, and all these buildings are creating more and more traffic, like trucks. We have about 4 of these shops going up around our place on the 3rd, or be concession 2. So this is another building, and yet the township says, oh, there's only like 3 houses live on there. We don't have to worry about a gravel road. It's fine. It's not. Like, we have put up with dust all the time, and close to wanting to move. So that's how it's getting at. Anyways, that's all. Okay.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone wish to speak against this application? Oh, thank you. Okay, at this time, we'll go for committee members. We'll start with Member Sheik.
Thank you, Chair. I just wondered if we could have the current address of where the neighbor lives in relation to the application.
6447 Side Road 6, so I'm right across the road. Yeah.
Okay, I still will start with you, Member Sheik.
Okay, so I was interested as well to hear what the actual intent of what this home industry is. And I just wondered, just for information and clarification, would the planner mind just kind of giving us an overview of what home industry falls under according to the zoning bylaw? Like intended uses of?
What kind of uses would be permitted? Ah, okay. Well, there isn't a list. On a farm, so the guiding document for home industries is the provincial policy statement, and there is guidelines for permitted uses. And in that document, home industries can be a lot of things. If it's secondary to the main use of farming, a home industry can be all kinds of things. It does not have to be ag related. That's the key. So, we have home industries that manufacture, you see them all over the place, right? And Mapleton has a lot of home industries, especially the Mennonite farms. It's quite common for a Mennonite farm to also have a home industry in addition to their farming activity. We see welding shops, we see woodworking shops, we see manufacturing parts for, bigger for cars and what have you. We see machine shops that make widgets. Like, there's nothing, the range is quite wide in terms of what they can do. It's better if you ask me what's not allowed, because that list is smaller, but it's very specific. So, what's not allowed is off-season storage. What's not allowed is retail uses. So, that's the thing with these home industries, is anything goes almost, but it's the size and scale that we can control. So you are limited in how big it can be, and you're limited in how many employees you can have, two off-site employees. You're limited in terms of how much area of your farm can be utilized for the building, for the storage area, for the parking area. So that's where it's controlled as opposed to the use. Okay. Does that make sense?
It does. Thank you for the clarification on that. Okay. Another question that I had for the homeowner is, so the home, for this proposed home industry is supposed to be secondary to farming. What kind of farming does your farm, like, do you have cattle? Do you have, like, what kind of farming do you currently have?
Currently, we do mostly crops, and I feed a couple of heifers, and I milk the cows on my dad's farm. And hopefully someday I can build my own barn. Then it would be dairy would be the primary farming, but currently it's crops.
Okay, thank you. And the other question that I had is, when I look at the drawing that you submitted for the application, I'm just wondering, so it's 72 by 40, and I'm just wondering, is there a second layer or a mezzanine, or is it just like, is there a second layer within the building, or is it just the footprint that we see as far as square footage? I think that's all I have at the moment. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Member Sheik. Member Doomerang, any questions or concerns?
I just have a question. So when you do have a farm machinery shop, how much yard are you planning to create, or is the existing yard enough, or are you going to make the yard bigger as well, or how, like, is it going to take up more space?
The site where the old barn is will probably be yard. Between the proposed shop and the shed, but that will be all, it is all gravel and concrete already.
Okay, thanks, Chair. No further questions.
Thank you. Member Kiomo, do you have any questions or concerns?
I think my questions have already been answered, just about how many stories this thing might be, if there's a mezzanine, that kind of thing. No, I think I've heard everything I need to know to make a decision at this point.
Thank you. Member Stanners?
Thank you, Chair. No, I really don't have a problem with this. As a few people have said, they've answered their questions. The only thing I do feel sorry is for the person across the road. The day that I was there, that road is busier than what you would call County Road 10 that comes straight out of Moorfield. It used to go out to the 3rd, up and over there. Years ago, it was all changed, and yeah, I do feel sorry for both of you living on that road. Transports were just flying past me like they're on the 401. It is a busy road, but as far as the application, I don't have a problem. Thank you.
I only had one question to probably the Secretary Treasurer. I noticed in the agenda package there were no comments from the county. Is that something, okay, planner, please, thank you.
We did receive them late, and they have no concerns. Sorry,
Okay.
I meant to verbally tell you that at the beginning of this, just because our planner from the county has left, so it was her last day on Friday. So we don't know who our new one's going to be, but hence why they were late. I think she was trying to wrap things up.
Okay. Okay,
But they
good.
have no concerns.
Okay, thank you. That was my only question. Okay, so we do have a recommendation before us. If I can have a first, Kiomo, second, Doomerang. Have a recommendation that the minor variance applied for in application A 202416, located at South Part Lot 6, Concession 2, Maryborough, and is municipally known as 6466 Side Road 6, to provide the following relief as proposed under Section 6.14D, proposed of 232 8.25 square meters. Any other questions? Yes, Member Sheik.
So I just thought of something else I wanted to ask the individual, is how many employees do you plan to have working in your business? Or do you have something started already that you have a business with employees regarding this?
Currently, I do not have any employees. If I am able to operate a business, and then I may have, maybe looking to add an employee. According to my experience, 2 people will be the maximum. The area provided will not provide more equipment to work on than for 2 people, so I'm not concerned about that limitation currently.
Thank you. Okay, do you want me to read the recommendation again, or I can call the question? Okay, at this time, I call the question. All those in favor? Against? This motion is granted. So again, we, the members of the Committee of Adjustment, feel that this variance is minor in nature. The variance requested is desirable for the appropriate development or use of lands, building, or structure. The variance maintains the general intent and purpose of the official plan. The variance maintains the general purpose and intent of the zoning bylaw. So I'll have signing of the hearing. There, the decisions have been signed. So again, there is a 20-day appeal process. So after that, you will be in contact with the Building Department or Planning Department. And I appreciate all of you coming to attend our meeting and expressing your comments and concerns. So that concludes this hearing. Thank you. And that leaves us into general business. I have 3 more dates upcoming: December the 11th, January 15th, and February the 12th for hearings. And I believe our Secretary Treasurer has some comments or, okay. Oh, sorry. If I may ask Michelle in Planning Department, do we have any hearings for December the 11th?
Sure, sorry, thank you, through you, Chair. We do have 1, there is a potential for 2, but for sure 1.
Okay, thank you. And I will share what I believe is great news. Last night at council meeting, I was voted in to become the councillor for Mapleton Township for the remaining 2-year term. So I am still awaiting on council's decision. I'll be sworn in on November the 26th. So at that time, I'm not sure whether I'll have to relinquish my position on Committee of Adjustment or if I'll be able to stay. So I'm sure one of you members would step up and become chair if I need to. But I just wanted to share that information with you.
Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you. So this meeting is now adjourned. It is at 4:40. Thank you.